All right, here with the boys right here. Do a little introduction right now. So, name is Iyaji Adoga. I am an online fitness coach, specifically helping, guys that are skinny, who are struggling with, low confidence, low self-esteem, because I myself once struggled with that. So today we'll be sharing our stories, what we struggle with a little bit. I grew up in Minnesota, Minneapolis, and I was kind of growing up as a shy kid, very quiet, not a lot of confidence, couldn't really present myself, didn't really feel myself. And so that's a big reason why I have my brand the way it is, because there are guys who are in the same boat. And so my whole purpose is to really share my story to help and impact and change lives of guys who are just in my position as well, because I had the blueprint and I wish I had this blueprint when I first started. So
Perfect.
How about yourself?
Great introduction.
You know what I'm saying?
My name's Talon Bradley, also from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Also online fitness coach, but heavily focused on the mindset as well and overall personal development. I believe in full circle improvement because that's what I did when I was at my lowest. I focused on myself and not just the fitness, but the mindset is where it really starts. And so I try to help all my clients with that.
My name is Christian Lee. A lot of you guys know me as Christian Athletics. I'm a life coach. I specialize mainly in helping men improve their health and their relationships. What really got me into it was just seeing some of the struggles that guys have in terms of their limiting beliefs, bad habits, and, especially in modern times, a lot of men are struggling with dating and relationships, navigating the social media age. And I felt, since I've been the type of guy that's always excelled in dating, always has done well with women, that I'd be able to help my fellow men and show men that, they have value, and that if they just put themselves in the best position possible with their presentation, their online image, their mindset, their health, that's going to improve their confidence, and in return, that's going to help them elevate the quality of their dating life. So really, just like those guys, I specialize in overall self-improvement, helping guys in all phases of their life. But the main thing I focus on is relationships.
Excited to be here with y'all, you know what I'm saying? Got a little
1000%. Bro.
Miami trip, you know what I'm saying? So
It's a
far as day
blessing.
2, we've been, on the go, you know what I'm saying? Not everything's gone how we wanted to plan it. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, for real.
Never
But
does. That's
never
That's
does.
a life
Yeah.
lesson right there.
Yeah.
You just gotta.
So why are we here though? Why are we in Miami? Like, why are we here? We're here till Monday.
Monday.
What's
yeah.
the whole, goal? Like,
Well, this
I haven't really even shared with my audience that I'm even in. So by the time this video comes out, you'll know I was in Miami, but I haven't posted one story. I have another Instagram, by the way. Go check out my personal Instagram. It's going to be Living with Yaj. I'll put it on the screen here, but I have a personal page. I want to separate my lifestyle content from my fitness because I just wanted to separate it. Kind of similar to, how my boys out here, obviously he's a dating coach. He's self-development, but I wanted to separate the two. So check out the page to keep up with the lifestyle. But yeah, why are we here though? What's the purpose of being out here?
Well, this is my first time in Miami. So honestly, aside from, obviously we're here for content, as y'all see, business, but also I'm looking to move out of Minnesota, within the next year or so. So this is a chance for me to see Miami, see what it's like, see what the vibes are like, see the apartments. Right now we're staying in like an Airbnb, but it's also like an apartment. So that's nice to see.
Yeah.
And just honestly enjoy a trip because it's been a minute for me to go on a trip.
Yeah. For me, this is really a business trip for me. Obviously, it's a great opportunity, in a nice city to meet new people, go to different places, different environments. Obviously, the podcast that we're on currently, I saw that as an opportunity to allow us to build our brands, expand our coaching, and, just doing it in a different environment. Also, too, really just check out the city. This is a place that I would love to move to in the future. And I guess this gave us a little bit of a glimpse of what my future life could be like here. So, just a combination of, business, connections, having fun, getting used to the lifestyle, and really just seeing everything that the city's about, really.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I agree. We're in similar industries, but, everyone has their niche in a way,
Branch out a little bit.
Branch out. So first thing I wanted to talk about was specifically for, you know, you, Christian, like what got you? Because one, I want to say one thing. These are my dogs. Like, man, these are my dogs. Like, honestly, I really did just meet Talon, 2 years ago?
Something like that, yeah.
Minneapolis, like training at Los Campeones. And then I moved many times. Then I ran into this dude. This dude DM'd me on Instagram. I had no clue who. I was like, who is,
to
bro?
high school
I was
together.
like, yeah, bro. But
Yeah.
we went to high school together. And so now it's dope to see that my boys really stepped into this field of content creation, but also making a business and having impact.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to say congratulations, bro.
Appreciate
Big
that,
thing,
man.
because I remember we've had calls week for week for the last almost 8 months
Yeah.
about building our brand, and this dude's came up a long way. And I think anybody else that's just waiting to start, bro, stop waiting and start, because my guys went from nothing to what are you at now?
Shit, damn near 9,000.
In how many months? Like,
About 3.5 months.
Crazy.
Like consistent posting.
and how many like viral videos have you had?
I've had 2 so far.
And what's your highest like videos at the moment?
1.5 million views.
What was that video about?
It's about, you know, women not having options, you know, not true options.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, though, what really got me into the space was really just seeing, you know, my close friends struggling with their relationships, guys that were superstars, you know, in their respective sports in high school, you know, had good grades, were educated, athletic, you know, had the look, had everything, right? And they would get into these relationships with these women that would make them forget who they were. So I think it was a combination of seeing my friends, you know, get treated with disrespect or, you know, getting ghosted by women. And then also, too, like just going online. I've seen so many videos about guys, you know, getting embarrassed, you know, women just using them for money, using them for a free date, and never talking to them again. And I was just like, I could never let that happen to me. So, you know, once I seen just like the common experience of modern dating for men where, you know, they're getting left on scene, they can't get a date. A lot of these guys, they haven't had a woman in years. That was what really made me want to change things and come onto the scene and give a unique perspective, because a lot of guys make content about dating, but I feel like the things I say, the things I talk about, and, you know, just the way I explain the different topics that I go about in my videos, guys have never heard the type of message that I speak. So that's really what got me into it. You know, also, the icing on the cake really was I was on a live stream about a year ago with a guy named Felix Fearless. Yeah, and you know,
you both are on there.
Yeah,
right?
we were both on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, when I went on there, he just asked me, you know, the basic self-improvement questions. What do I do for work? What is my current relationship status like? And at the time, you know, I was living a poly lifestyle. I've been living a poly lifestyle for years, having multiple women, having multiple girlfriends. So I told him, like, I was like, yeah, I got 2 girlfriends. And he was just so shocked. A guy that has been a dating coach for years, helped hundreds of thousands, millions of people, you know, impacted lives globally. He was shocked by the fact that, you know, I had 2 women that were in pocket, that were willing to do whatever for me. And they were bringing value to my life. And, you know, when guys seen the live stream, you know, somehow they found my Instagram. And originally I was doing just fitness content. I was, you know, solely focused on personal training. That's my main, you know, source of income. But so many guys were coming to me asking me, like, how do you get 2 girlfriends? Or, oh, I'm going through this problem with my ex. Like, what should I do? They were coming to me for advice. And I was just like, you know, a combination of seeing my friends get disrespected and played by these women, and then these guys on the internet going through the same thing. I'm like, yo, there's a lot of not only money to be made, but there's a lot of impact that, you know, I'm leaving on the table if I don't do this. So, you know, and on top of that, I've always been passionate about talking about relationships. Like, this isn't something I just do for the money. Like, this is something I love to do. So, you know, when these guys were coming to me for advice and they really needed me and they looked at me as, you know, a source of, you know, trust and also expertise in that field, it was a no-brainer to get started. So I turned on my camera. I made about 30 videos. I batch recorded them. I put them out, and the rest is history.
Man, I love that, bro, because I remember, like, you talking about,
Yeah,
it
I was
like
talking about it.
a month you had content.
I was
bro,
contemplating. I was like,
post,
should I
bro.
post?
I'm
Should I
like,
post?
bro, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah,
Like,
you was like, just
this-
post. I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna jump on this Instagram. I'm gonna post every day. And
The one thing I like about you, bro, we've seen that a lot on this trip, bro. You are obsessive, which is great.
I
You
am.
are
Nah, most
perfectionist.
definitely, yeah.
I'm
Like,
about my business, yeah.
we were taking photos.
we out there for 2 hours.
You see the presentation.
I get
Bro, you
mine,
gotta
he
get
gets
it
his.
right.
We got
Bro,
him.
we got
carve out
him.
extra
Nah,
hour
bro,
for you,
him is another 2 hours of photos.
Right.
Like, we're not leaving until every photo's perfect,
Yeah,
bro. Like,
I really think, like, honestly, that comes from just having an athletic background. My coaches, when I was growing up playing football, said, "How you do anything is how you do everything." You know, you don't do half reps, you don't skip reps. Like, you gotta follow through and do what you gotta do at the highest level. You gotta be a perfectionist. You gotta be the best. If you want to be the best, you gotta carry yourself like you're the best. You gotta act like you're the best. You gotta have everything in place. And I'm not saying that, perfectionism is the best thing to do all the time, but I feel like as a man that holds himself to the highest standard, I can't fall below my standard. I gotta always meet a certain level of expectation and standard within myself, and I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice if I fall beneath that. So that's why I try to just do everything at the highest level, man. You see my videos, high quality. You see my pictures, high quality. You see the women I'm with, high quality. I gotta do everything high quality, because if I lower my standards as a man, I'm gonna lower my self-image, and you can only go as far in life as your self-image allows you to.
1,000%.
that's a facts. Yeah.
You got to keep your standards high. You
Yeah.
cannot let them slip.
Yeah. So when it comes to, we're all coaches, right? What was, the transition or the turning point in your life that said, instead of just being the person that does the work, I'm going to help other men or other women also do the work and get the results that I got?
For me personally, I got my start a little differently than
Yeah.
like you. So I got kicked out about 6 years ago. I was 19,
Right.
kicked out of the house by my dad. And I had didn't have a job, zero money to my name, and I had to make something out of nothing. Point blank, period. And so I got a low-ass studio, 400 square feet maybe. Kitchen is the living room. Living room is the bedroom. That type of place, you know what I mean? And so I had to work my way up from zero, literally depressed, anxious, getting over the fact that my mom, committed suicide, right?
Damn.
And built myself up from nothing. Started at a full-time job, was there for about 3 years, but deep down, I always knew that I was meant for more than that.
Right.
Partially just because I don't like authority and listening to people, and I always knew that. I was like different and felt different in that way.
Yeah.
Different from the people I was always around. Their mindsets were different from mine. And so I knew I wasn't going to stay at that job for too long. And then really it was just following my passions, working on myself, building myself up from literally ground zero, financially, physically too. And working on myself in every way. And I still got, I'm sure y'all both agree, like we're still scratching the surface. I still have a long way to go.
Unlimited potential.
But
100%.
I figure while I'm still on my journey, why not give back and help others
Right.
Yeah.
who were once where I was,
Yeah.
that may be depressed, anxious, don't have any muscle, skinny, or, bigger, right?
Yeah.
And so why not give back and help where I can, just based off my experiences.
Yeah. I think that's really like the biggest thing. You're helping people, I'm helping people. And we all know the feeling we get when we're serving others and putting them in a position where they have always wanted to be, or, they've always seen a newer version or a bigger version. Because that's the best feeling in the world, when you're giving service, when you're giving back, when you're helping people. And that's honestly why I do what I do. Like, a lot of my content, it is very, like, I talk about it a lot. I had a call with a dude yesterday. He's like, bro, is your bio true? Like, do you really is that something you he literally asked me, bro. He's like, bro, do you really struggle with, porn or porn? Like, obviously at the time now, I don't struggle with it. Like, that was in the past. But he was like, dude, what? Like, he couldn't believe that I was talking about it, bro. He's like, bro, you're talking about that? I'm like, bro, yeah, like, I'm being real. You know what I'm saying? And
No,
I feel like a
facts.
lot of coaches out there, bro, they're not keeping it a buck.
Yeah.
Like, they're
Not being
just, bro, I
transparent.
know we were just talking about that. There are so many guys that are lying, bro. They're like saying all this thing, but bro, like, I'll tell you exactly what it is. That's why I make my stories the way it is. That's why I share like last 2 years ago when I was like going through it, dead, bro. I wasn't like homeless, but I was showcasing the grind. And people were like, bro, why are you posting this? And then I got out. And I keep it. You can go way back on my YouTube and see the videos where I literally said I'm thousands of dollars in debt. You go back. I have it on the screenshot, and I was like showing my journey, just literally showing myself like stressed out. And then the next year, I moved to Dallas, right? Got my own place, new car, you know what I'm saying? Traveled the world, you know what I'm saying? My body, like I'm just maintaining it, but you know, just showcasing the journey. That's what I feel like people need to see. They can't just see the shiny things, the good, the perfection. They got to see what, in my opinion, I trust people who show the bad side, and that's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? So, how do you guys feel like authenticity or vulnerability, right? Especially with either your clients or, you know, even the loved ones, like if it's a relationship with a girl, how do you feel like, how important do you guys think that, how important is that to you guys? Do you guys think it's important to be vulnerable with your close ones, clients in a way, or not really?
Personally, vulnerability is still something that I need to work on.
Okay, that's real.
And whether that be in content or with people, relationships, people, content, you know, that's something I'm working on to be more vulnerable so I can connect better with everybody. You know, that helps you connect in your content, obviously. Helps you better connect with in your relationships, is being able to open up a little bit. And I just feel like as men, that's a struggle for everybody.
Oh, 100%.
Like, as men, especially in my situation, I mentioned earlier my mom passed when I was younger. And so I grew up with just my dad since I was 8.
Real.
Right? And in a household with 2 men, there's really no vulnerability, right?
Nah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just
It's like figure it
tough
out,
love,
bro.
discipline.
Right. It's like be a man.
Exactly.
You
And
sad,
so
nigga, go to work. Go work hard.
tough love,
Yeah.
discipline, hard work. And that's how I grew up. So it's something that I'm working on. And I feel like this is part of that, you know, sharing my journey is being vulnerable.
That we all talk about this, bruh. Like the dad part, you swiped on my story about it. Like,
Where's your dad?
where's your daddy at, dude, bro?
That's a joke, though.
That's a joke,
I mean,
yeah,
that's
bro.
what a joke is.
But how do you guys feel like your relationship with your parents shaped you to be the man you are today? Starting with you, Christian.
I mean, really, I had a really shaky relationship. Not really trying to go into too much detail, but like my mother was there emotionally, but she wasn't there physically. And my dad was there for me physically, but he was not there for me emotionally. So really, at a young age, I had to learn to validate myself because my parents weren't there to tell me good job. My parents weren't there to say, I'm proud of you. My parents really didn't allow me to feel safe when it comes to being vulnerable or, you know, to express myself in a healthy way. So I think because my parents didn't show up for me the way I would like them to, it made me hyper self-sufficient in a way to where I felt like I didn't need nobody, to where I feel I can do everything on my own, to where I would rather go homeless. I would rather go broke before I ask for help. So that is something that I'm really trying to transition into, is just being more open, being more transparent, being more of an open book. But it's definitely something I struggle with when you're growing up. If you don't see something growing up, it's hard for you to do that as an adult. If you didn't see or come from, a loving household, it's really going to be hard for you to show love in your relationships or to your fellow man or to your fellow woman. Or if you didn't see much vulnerability or emotional intelligence, it's going to be hard for you to navigate certain problems when you're in a relationship, right? If you grew up in a household where your parents are arguing all the time, fighting, you're going to think that's normal in a relationship, and it shouldn't be. If you grow up in a household where your mom gets in an argument with your dad, and instead of communicating, in a healthy way, she becomes dismissive, or she gives your dad the silent treatment. That's gonna correlate into your relationships, and boom, when you get into an argument with your woman, you're gonna give her the silent treatment, or you're gonna try to avoid the problem altogether instead of being accountable, being transparent, being vulnerable, and expressing how you feel in a healthy manner. That's gonna allow you guys to grow forward and move in a more healthy and sufficient way.
That's
100%.
real. I feel that on that part with because I feel like whenever I get into a situation where I don't know how to, let's say it's a conflict, an argument or something, I'll go to like not hiding myself, but like not speaking about it, or I'll kind of hide myself or just go away from the world, isolate. And like that for me is something I don't like about myself. Yeah. And so I've been working on that a lot, but I feel like a lot of that does come from, growing up. My dad, like he was somewhat there physically, but he could have been there more, and emotionally just was not there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
let me ask you this: is it more so a fear of judgment that makes you kind of go into hiding mode or become avoidant? Or is it just like a fear of, it's like an inner fear? Like, is it external where you're scared of what other people might say about you? Or is it more so something deep internal where, like,
Like right now, I don't struggle with as much. Like I guess I should have. Like before I got into sales, obviously a lot of you may not know, but I do sell solar. Like I go door to door. Like it was hard for me to do that, but now I've gotten better with it. So now, I don't really have as much as a problem with it. But I feel like it was more of like just not wanting to talk about it, just wanting to hold it in and just figure it out, or just like if I did, I would text. If something happened, I'd rather text. I wouldn't want to meet in person. You know what I'm saying? I would just wouldn't have that tension.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. So
Okay, I got a question for you, Yash. What was the one thing that you feel like, allowed you, because I know originally you were mainly just doing fitness content, the skits, but like now you kind of transition more so into being open about your past addictions or your past bad habits or vices. Like, what was the one thing that made you say, okay, I'm not just a fitness coach, but I'm going to help men overall with their life, and I'm going to help men overcome not just having a bad body or a bad diet, but also a bad mindset, negative limiting beliefs about themselves, bad habits, and things that were keeping them stuck mentally?
it's a great question. So I got super angry with myself. Like I'm on 75 hard, but stay 72 or something. But about 70 days ago, I was like, bro, I hate the version I'm at. I was doing good. Like I was making money. I'm going to work, but I knew there was another level of myself. I saw my brand. I'm like, bro, there's more. There's more to what I can give. There's more to what I can share. There's so many coaches too. I'm like, bro, what did God put me on this earth to really do? Like just share workout tips, share skits. Like, bro, like that's so basic. Like you guys know what to do. Like the information's out there. There's ChatGPT. I'm like, bro, what else could I do to separate myself, but also be real? And I did some journaling. I broke down a lot. I prayed a lot. Like, was in the Bible. I still am. And God told me to share my story on a deeper level, not just share my fitness tips and workout tips, but to share what I struggled with in my past, because a lot of that stuff, I hid it. And, I didn't want to talk about it because, again, I didn't want to be judged like that. Mm-hmm. And now I'm just like, bro, I don't care because, again, I've been messaged, bro, with in personal, like people texting me or DMs. They won't maybe comment about it, but, bro, like the P word, a lot of men struggle with that, bro. Like a lot of men struggle with that. So I felt like that's something that I struggle with, that I could be real, that could connect with people on a deep, especially being a skinny guy, who I was, like having no confidence, didn't really get as many girls. That's the first thing, that's the first comfort zone I go to. And so I knew sharing that would wake somebody else out there that, one, you can escape, and two, there's another version and there's a way out. And I felt like that's why I got into this, being open and if that makes sense.
I feel like that will help separate you.
Yeah.
And I mean, and for us, each one of us, everybody really, what makes you unique is your individual life and your life experiences.
Yeah.
And so if you were to keep that, how are you going to be unique? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so you taking that step is going to separate you, because now you're your own unique identity and not just fitness. And I feel like that's how you separate yourself.
Yeah.
Especially in content and whatnot.
Do you feel like people come to you for training just because they need workout advice? Or do you feel like why do you feel like the clients stick around with you versus another guy or girl?
I think, and I've been told this by my clients, like my personal training clients and whatnot, they enjoy my energy. And also coming back to the fact that I try to improve them more than just physically. A lot of people come to me with their mindset. I'm sure y'all can agree with this, with your clients as well, with their mindset in the dumps.
Yeah.
Me, I started there. And so I can understand that, and I try to help them with that. And that starts with the self-development, the habits, and working on staying positive like you commented on this earlier, I'm never too high, I'm never too low. I don't let myself get flustered, and I try to stay, even keel 100% of the time. And that goes a long way. Like just being able to have that faith that no matter what, everything will work out, you know what I mean? And having that positive, optimistic mindset, a lot of people struggle with that.
Oh, big
Oh
time.
yeah, 100%.
And so people stick around, back to your question, people stick around because I make sure to try to help them with that. And also just like, that's part of my personality.
Yeah.
And so I've been told, like, I've had people that train with other coaches and they're like, you're completely different. You're able to get like an extra rep out of me. You're able to push me further. And part of that's just because I also push people hard because I know their capabilities better than they know themselves. You know what I mean?
Right.
I also feel like, though, I know you're about to say something, but I feel like it's because you do the same thing. Like, you expect the same thing. When we train, bro, we're always going hard.
It comes back to the
Yeah,
standards.
I was about to
Standards,
say
bro.
that. That was
Yeah.
exactly what I was
We're
about to
never
say.
in there, like, even though we had a good workout yesterday, but we were still pushing each other, like, bro,
Yeah.
like, we're not soft, we're
You
not.
hold your clients to the same standard that you hold yourself, and that's why they're able to get the results.
Exactly.
There.
Exactly. So what were you going to say something, yeah?
I mean, that was really what it was. But kind of to piggyback off this question, what was the thing, because we're all, in great shape, we're all lean, we're all coaches. What was the main thing for you guys that made you want to get in shape? Like, what was the deciding factor, the motivating factor? Was it girls? Was it to be more confident? Were you made fun of? Did you have mental battles and use the gym as like more of an outlet to, take some stress out and, fight them demons? Like, what was it?
Well, honestly, the reason I got into working out was because of girls. I was skinny. I didn't have confidence. Like we talked about this a little bit, but I didn't have, unless you put me on with a girl, I'm not approaching. If I see something I want, I don't have the confidence to go up. So I'd rather sit back. And I didn't feel myself. I always put guys on a higher pedestal, even women. Everybody was above me for some reason. And I didn't really view myself as a prize. And that's why I put everybody above me. But I feel like working out gave me a sense of building my value, seeing that I can build something, and you can't buy a body. So by building that body, I built confidence. I built something that you can't take, you can't buy. And that just built me into a whole nother person. And working out isn't gonna get you girls in itself. But for me, what it did was gave me the confidence to go after what I want. And by going after what I want, I can build the life I want. I can improve my skill set, make more money, right? So yeah, that's my reason. What about you though?
My start, like I feel like all of us came from sports.
Yeah.
And so I was in sports all my life through high school and then into college as well. But there was a period of time after college when I had dropped out of college. I had gone 2 years, played college football, then I dropped out. And then after that, when I was at my lowest was also when I wasn't working out. You know what I mean? And when I wasn't, reaching my full potential.
When was that? Was that the time you told me like?
It was not. It was around when before I got kicked out. It was
Okay, yeah, you told me about
It
this.
was 19, 20, 21-ish,
Yeah.
and I wasn't working out for like when I was 19 or 20,
Okay.
and that was also when I was at my lowest. And really, what pushed me to work out or pick it up, was just like you said, the confidence it gives you. Also, when I'm at my lowest points, it's always when I'm not striving for more.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Feel that.
working out transcends the gym. Like,
Right.
it's a place where you can fight those battles mentally. You can work on your confidence. You can push yourself physically, which can translate to mentally. You know what I mean? You can push your standards higher. You can push yourself physically, fight for those extra reps.
Yeah.
And I feel like that can transcend the gym itself, and that's what I try to do for my clients as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is like it may be like, oh, He's just a gym rat. Oh, he's just going to the gym, like, lifting weights. But it transcends that. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. No, so for me, what really got me into, wanting to build my body, wanting to look my best was, growing up, we all had athletic backgrounds, but, when I was in high school, a lot of my teammates, they'd make fun of me saying, I was built weird, I'm too skinny, I'm too small, I'll never be good enough, because my dream was to go to the NFL, and they were like, you're too small to go to the NFL. So really my whole thing was really to prove them wrong. Like, even if I don't make it to the league, like, I want to show them, like, I can be big, I can be strong, I can be anything that I put my mind to. And I'm not going to let someone else's perspective on me limit my own growth, my own potential, what I could be. I know, Yaj, you said that the main reason why you got into fitness was for girls. I mean, that's the reason I still work out. I definitely work out, and stay in shape for my woman, to look good.
Definitely a plus.
Yeah.
Definitely comes with it.
You know what I'm saying? When it's time to give her that crazy work, that's why I do it. You know what I'm saying? Look good naked for her. But, I've always had women. I've always, been, the ladies' man or whatever you want to call it. So, I mean, it was really just like the people that doubted me. I always felt my whole life, because I always been the smallest guy on the team. I always been, skinny or whatever. So really, I was just trying to show guys, like, I can be exactly what you guys are and better. And what's crazy is, now that I've gotten in shape, now that I've built the body, those same guys that were making fun of me in high school, they're now asking me for fitness advice. They're like, oh, Christian, you look so good. You're in such great shape. Like, what do you do for workouts? Those same guys that was hating, that was talking shit, they're asking me for advice now, or they're saying, how I'm doing so well, how they love my content. It's like, it's crazy how you always get the last laugh in the end. The person that was doubted the most usually comes up the most. And I think, when you're put in the ground like that, when people talk shit, when people talk down on you, it gives you so much fuel to propel forward. I feel like every man needs that adversity. Every man needs that person that talks shit about them or went behind their back or betrayed them, because I feel like that turns you into a monster. I feel like a lot of these guys, why they're so weak, why they're so soft, is because they never had no adversity. A lot of these guys, they're not accustomed to, fighting those demons, facing those challenges, having those doubts, that anxiety in their mind and in their head every single day. So when they're combated with a problem, or they're combated with people talking shit or hating on them, they don't know what to do. But I feel like, we've all been through our fair share of adversity. We all have been made fun of. We've all been doubted. We've all been, laughed at. And so that has made us, into the type of person we are, because we use that shit as fuel. We use that to maintain our hunger. Anytime we get comfortable, we start coasting, we remember, that motherfucker in high school made fun of me, or that girl rejected me. Like, we use hate to motivate us. A lot of people, they see hate as something that puts them down. We see hate as a source of fuel, a source of inspiration.
Fuel, bro.
And shit, anytime a broad has done me wrong, man, every time I win, I think of that broad. I'm like, yeah, shit, you wish you would have came up on me now. Or, anytime, I see that motherfucker from high school that was talking all that shit, I pull up to the fast food restaurant, he's serving me my shit. I'm like, you shouldn't have laughed at me. Look at us now. The roles are reversed. So we always get the last laugh at the end, and we always use that hate as inspiration. And since we're so accustomed to people talking shit or doubting us, when we go on Instagram with our comments and everything like that, people talking to us crazy in the comments, it don't really faze us like that. We might get flustered here and there, but it don't break us.
Nah.
And a lot of people can't do what we do, I think we're really built for this shit. I think that's why a lot of people don't step on social media and do content like us, because they're scared of what their homies or their family members of these motherfuckers they went to high school with that they haven't seen in 5 years are going to think about them. It takes some real balls to, showcase your lifestyle, document your lifestyle, and really go out there in front of the world and be vulnerable like we're doing. It's not for everybody, but for the ones that really do it, you got to have some thick skin for real.
Yeah.
1,000%. We were talking about this earlier. I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And so every adversity I faced, whether it be growing up in a single parent household, only child, so I had that aspect where I was lonely quite a bit. My mom committed suicide, depressed, anxious, bank account at zero multiple times. You feel me? Kicked out. All the adversity, I feel like that builds you, and you need that.
Yeah.
Because that makes you so strong that nothing can affect you. You know what I mean?
Right. You build a callus, over your mind. And, you know, just to piggyback off what you said, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the adversity. You know, I wouldn't have the game that I have when it comes to women if women didn't run off me and you know, use me or manipulate me. I wouldn't have the game when it comes to fitness if I didn't know what it was like to be skinny, what it was like to not be in a position to where, you know, I feel confident within myself or I feel like I'm good enough. You know, all the bad things that happened to me, I think they shaped me into who I am. And I think the reason why a lot of people can't grow is because not enough bad shit is happening to them. You know, your muscles grow when they're under stress, when, you know, your body's put under a certain amount of tension. You got to have that same thing with your life. You know, and it's super easy to get comfortable nowadays. We live in a world where, you know, anything is at the tap of a button on your phone. It's super easy to get soft. So you got to implement self-inflicted adversity. What does that mean? Instead of waking up at 8, say you got to go to work at 9. Instead of waking up at 8, wake up at 4. You know, force yourself into these hard situations so that your mind stays sharp. It's just like atrophy. If you don't use it, you lose it. You got to have the same thing with your mind. You know, if you don't constantly put yourself under pressure, under hard situations, you're going to get soft. So I think, you know, a combination of, you know, people doing me wrong that's made me strong, and the fact that I'm constantly forcing myself into situations that are difficult because I know that's the thing that's going to allow me to get ahead of my competition and stay the way I am.
1,000%. Definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Need it. There's every great man has to go through pain and adversity. Like, I believe the greatest men, everybody that we look up to, they've all been through something super challenging or a time where it was tough. And bro, like I love it when I get hit with something, bro. A lot of people see it and they're like, bro, this is all bad. It's not bad, bro. It's happening for you. It's not happening to you.
Right,
And that's how I view
happens to
everything,
you.
bro. Like with me, back when I started my journey, I remember having like 3 or 4 shirts literally kept in my closet when I was skinny. I would not wear them because I would be like, bro, I would be insecure. It wouldn't fit right. So there'd be
Right.
gaps. And I just leave them there. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, when I put on some muscle, I'm going to wear that shirt. And it'd sit there for years, bro.
Damn.
Years. I remember because when I wore those shirts out in public, people would make fun of me. I get comments when I go out in public to like social family events.
Yeah.
They'd be, and this is the pain that I used to build, right? They'd be like, bro, like, you need to eat. Like, are you not eating? Are you sick? Bro, are you sick? I'm like, sick. Like, I'm doing what I was really doing what I thought I could do, right? I was eating a lot, but I wasn't changing. And that kind of like messed with my confidence because people were constantly telling me I wasn't, like, what's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? And because I had no confidence and no self-esteem, I'm taking that what they're saying and I'm using that as how I view myself. Versus now I've built to the point where it's like that pain and that time period I've used it to build to the man I am today. I've built my body, my mindset. So now those comments or any negative comment doesn't faze me, bro.
Yeah.
Does not faze me. So you guys probably feel the same way. Like,
Yeah,
we're all
that's something
confident.
I talk about a lot. And, you know, you got to get to the point to where you validate yourself. And love and hate means the exact same thing. You don't get too high when people are showing love. You don't get too low when people are showing hate.
Yeah.
You know, you really got to validate yourself. And how do you validate yourself? By the self-investment, the work you put in each and every day. I validate myself when I choose to eat that healthy food over that bullshit food. I validate myself when I choose to go to the gym instead of sleeping in and snoozing my alarm. I validate myself, you know, when I make that coaching call, when I could be spending that time, you know, watching TV, hanging out with my girl, you know, or chilling. I validate myself by the daily actions and daily habits that I do when I have other options that I could easily pursue instead. And speaking of other options that you can do that can be harmful, what are some things that you see in your clients or even in yourself? Like, what is a common vice, habit, or addiction that, you know, you see men struggle with that if they just got that taken care of, their life would go up?
I feel like this is with anything though.
Yeah.
But for my specific, like the guys that I work with, it's consistency with, it doesn't matter if it's workouts or nutrition, but a lot of guys, even myself back then, I couldn't stick to something for more than a month. I would do it for a perfect 2 weeks and I'd fall off. And the same thing I see with clients right now. It's like, yeah, I'll go to the gym for a week and 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I'll be perfect. And then I'll go off for a week. And I'm like, and they're like, yeah, but I'm not really seeing results. I'm like, well, that's why, bro. Like,
Right.
It doesn't, you know, you're not going to get to where like people see a body and they're like, man, I can get there in a month, 2 months, 3 months. Like, no, bro, like you got to be consistent for a minute. You don't get looking like that or like this in a month.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't get a, you know what I'm saying? It takes time, and this consistency is the biggest thing I feel like.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. You know, I tell my clients this all the time. You know, when you do something for long enough, when you're consistent for long enough, you don't need motivation or discipline to do it. For example, right, do you need motivation or discipline to brush your teeth? No, it's on autopilot because you've done it for so long that you don't even need to think about it. That's the same thing eventually with the gym. When at first, you know, you're gonna need motivation, you're gonna need discipline to go to the gym, to choose that healthy food. But after a while, you're gonna be doing that so long that it feels like something you just do. I don't have to be motivated or disciplined to go to the gym. I just wake up and I'm like, oh, gotta go work out. It's not even something I have to think about. So really, you know, when you first get started on your journey, it's gonna be, you know, a bumpy road. You're gonna go over a plateau. But eventually, as your body adapts to, you know, that routine and the habit of being consistent, that's to the point to where it'll just be something you automatically do. You won't need motivation. You won't even need accountability. Like, do you need accountability to take a shower? Do you need accountability to brush your teeth? Do you need accountability to groom? To do
some
these
people
basic
do.
things? Do you need accountability to, you know, do any of that? So, like, that's the same thing. Like, you can apply that to healthy habits. You won't need accountability. You won't need discipline or motivation or willpower to do any of these things, you know, once you just do it long enough and delay gratification.
100%. Yeah. It's kind of broad, but yeah,
Yeah.
like both y'all said, the biggest struggle is consistency and accountability and their mindset, I see.
Yeah.
And consistency, that just becomes, they rely way too much, like you were saying, on motivation rather than discipline.
Exactly.
And so the first thing is building that discipline,
Yep.
making it regimented, you know, making it a lifestyle is really how you change your life, is making lifestyle changes, you know, taking out the bad and inserting the good. And then over time, you do build that discipline as long as you stick to it. People want the body in 2 days. Nah, it takes time. You have to delay gratification over and over again. And it's going to seem like it all happens at once, but really it was the work you put in 3 months ago, 6 months ago, last year, with your body, with your finances, with your content, with anything in life. You know, you got to delay that gratification.
Yeah.
And eventually it will come to fruition as long as you stay consistent and continue to build on that discipline rather than motivation.
Yeah.
Put that head down and work.
And so, you know,
well, before you go on that,
Okay.
time wise,
I was gonna ask one last question, and then
Okay.
we could break from there.
okay.
So, the last question I'll ask you is, you know, throughout your life, what do you feel personally is the biggest issue in terms of a bad habit or a vice that you had, and how did you personally overcome that? I know we talked about, you know, what we see in our clients, but like within yourself, like was there an addiction you had or something that you just could not shake off you? And like, what did you do to overcome that?
Of course, yeah, 100%. Like everybody, it may not be addiction, but everybody has a vice, I believe.
Yeah.
But my vice, a few things, and I've had stages and journeys, but for a long time, it was the P word, bruh. You know what I'm saying? It was corn, you know, watching the thing, doing the thing, you know what I'm saying? And that was like, it started from middle school, high school, and it's crazy because all my friends would joke about it in class or like outside, and we have group chats. Everyone's sending videos of this bad Latina
Yeah.
chick twerking, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
I feel like a lot of men deal with that secretly.
Man, they do. They joke.
Yeah,
Like,
they
bro,
do.
I know, bro, when I used to work at, I'm not going to name the gym, but I used to work at this gym, and there's these high-level athletes coming in, right? And they'd be joking. These guys are making great money. They have trainers. They have girls. They have, like, they're doing it, right? If you see him in public, you're like, bro, I'm trying to be like that guy. He got the whip, all these things.
Right.
And then he's telling me, yeah, now he watches the thing.
Yeah.
Bro, you're 40, you got kids and stuff like this,
Right.
bro. And I look, and then next week his girl's gone, like they broke up or something. It's like,
Yeah.
bro, like it takes men down a terrible path, and I'm
Yeah.
so glad that I quit. And for me, the way I quit was 3 things. 1, God. Like being in the Word. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say I go to church every single week and I'm some perfect, you know what I'm saying? Like I still slip up. But I do believe starting my mornings with the Word keeps my mind fresh and off away from the lustful things that the world wants to do.
Yeah.
And number 2, I feel like the biggest thing is environment. Environment matters. Like when I was around those people or the places that always consistently showed or made me feel like I wanted to do X, Y, Z or watch it, bro, like I'm constantly going to want to do it, right? Or watch it. So,
And I think we can all relate to that because me personally, I don't watch porn or masturbate anymore.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like, obviously, I'm not going to say you're obviously like I'm perfect either.
We've all
We've
done
had
it.
relapses and whatnot.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're not saying that doesn't happen, but it's about the overall, like going back to building that discipline, it's about the overall picture. And over time, you just don't even think about it. And I know at first it's tough, but yeah.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I would say for me, because, like, you know, I don't watch porn, I don't masturbate, you know, I've never smoked before. I've only had a handful of drinks, but I've never been drunk before. I've never really had the typical vices that most men have, but people don't realize this, but the one vice I had was women. Women are a vice. Women are a distraction. Women will take you down a dark road if you let them. You know, women will lead you to hell if you let them. So I think the main thing was, instead of prioritizing my purpose, honestly, I told you this too. I feel like I would have been where I'm at now. I would have been there times 10 if I would have just, instead of focusing on these women and trying to take women out on dates and, you know what I'm saying, take them back to the crib, I would have just put that time into my business or put that time into my goals or really invested it into, you know, my education or mentorships or personal development. I feel like I would have been way further if I would have put that time that I was spending with these women into myself, and I was unfulfilled. You know, the time when I had the most women, I had 5 women. You know, that was the time where I felt like it was never enough. I felt like I needed 6 women, 7 women. It was like no amount of women that I had in my life fulfilled me. So that's when I really, you know, took a look within myself and said to myself, where is this taking you? What are you doing with this? Is this helping you get to where you want to be, or is this distracting you? And, you know, like you said too, really, I just tapped in with God, and I was just like, you know, show me what I need to do for myself, or just allow me to make a transition that's beneficial. And from that point on, you know, I started loving myself more. That same time I put into women, I put back into myself. You know, I started to validate myself instead of being validated by how many women I could sleep with, or, you know, trying to get this baddie to talk to me. You know, I validated myself by putting in the work every day, having good habits, you know, not, you know, being comfortable with ignoring a woman, being comfortable with saying no, being comfortable with, you know, instead of going out on this date, you know, putting that time into my business, learning a skill, just doing different things like that. And I've just been way more fulfilled doing that. I feel like, you know, to all of us, all these vices, you know, they just leave you empty in the end. And I felt like, you know, pursuing women before my purpose left me empty. You know, like they always say, when you put a woman over money, how's it go? Oh, yeah. If you put a woman over money, you'll lose both. But if you put money over a woman, you'll always have both. And I feel like that's just the way I live my life, you know. When I started putting myself first, more women came, the right women came. You know, when I was, you know, chasing women, talking to all these women, you know, with no purpose behind it, not only did they not stay in my life, but I just felt empty. So, you know, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. When you elevate the quality of yourself and you start loving yourself, you're gonna attract people in your life that also love themselves. You know, I started attracting quality women into my life when I started becoming a quality man. You know, when I was chasing women, when I was putting my value into, you know, how these women validate me, I was attracting women that use men for validation too. And, you know, they got their validation through attention, thirst trapping, and all that stuff. So if you want to attract a high quality partner, man, start loving yourself more, because you're going to start, you know, putting that vibration in the air, and you're going to start attracting women that also love themselves. So I think we can wrap up with that.
I mean, I'd say my vices, like kind of like you, I waited a long time to even like take my first sip of alcohol. That was just from seeing both my parents struggle from that. And so I waited till like I was almost out of high school to even take my first like sip of alcohol. And so I didn't have that vice. Smoking, never did that. No Nick stick, none of the like kind of normal vices you see. But I'd say my first vice early on in my life was probably video games. I spent way too much time on video games.
I feel
when
that.
I was younger. And I think it was all stemmed from just trying to escape from my current situation, or just an escape to not be lonely, or, you know, just to not have to deal with real life issues. Even though I was young, you know, I could have spent my time doing better things, which eventually, you know, is where I came to the realization and started looking at the time I was spending on that. Okay, I can spend my time way better, you know, working on myself, working out, you know, putting time into making money, you know, into myself. And then second vice, which came after working on myself a little bit and seeing the results, was the women. And so that would probably be my second vice.
Yeah.
And that, I feel like with anything in life, you know, it comes and goes. And so I still deal with this vice a little bit, the women vice, but it's definitely to a point where I'm very conscious of it.
Yeah.
I do not let women become a distraction from getting myself ahead.
You're able to compartmentalize it. Like,
Yeah.
you know when it's time to focus, you know when it's time to, you know, indulge in the women.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, for all the men out there, the women only like you as much as you like yourself.
Exactly, yeah.
And your time is better spent working on yourself 1,000% than with women.
Yeah.
Time and money. Because we all know these women cost a lot, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Your money is better spent on real courses, like that will actually get you results, real coaching that will actually get you results, and, you know, whatever way you can invest into yourself. Hell, literally investing your money is going to be better than money spent on a woman.
Yeah.
This last thing I'll say, this might sound extreme, or we're gonna say something.
No, you got it.
But just real quick, like to say what you were saying, like the video game thing, and like basically you are the main character of your life, and like video games give you a feeling of like you can be a main character in that version, but in your real life, like you're going to the games because you're not good in real life. So it's like that's why I say fuck going, you know, fuck the football games, fuck watching NFL, fuck sporting events, bro. Like if the life and the where you are is not where you want to be, why are we doing that? You know what I'm saying? That's never really clicked for me. But like the idea of becoming the main character in your life is huge, and I like the fact that you turned that vice down with the video games and you went into your real life and leveled up.